Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nathan. If you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC on Fox. Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stephens in a featherweight clash of the ages main event on Big Fox. Oh my God! Pretty much every match on this card, top to bottom, was amazing. You didn't have an overkill on decisions. You had finishes galore. Yeah, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, out of 12 matches, you had 5 decisions. I like that ratio. Um, it can be a little annoying if it's too many decisions, and then if everything's a first round knockout, it feels like it ended too quick. But yeah, this was a good mix, and these matches delivered. There's a lot of talented fighters on this card, and they all showed up to fight, and they all showed up to try to win, which is always what you ask for as a fan, and also if you're a fighter, I would imagine that's what you want for yourself, to try to go there and win. And yeah, so this is a post-fight rundown of UFC on Fox, Emmett versus Stephens main card, and let's get started. So the main event was a featherweight clash with Jeremy Stephens, number 8 ranked, going up against Josh Emmett, number 4 ranked, going into this fight. And yeah, on my pre-fight show, I said Jeremy Stephens would win. I was shocked. I believe I picked third round knockout on my pre-show, and it ended up being a second round knockout, KO punches and elbows for Jeremy Stephens. So I was 1 round off. Josh Emmett's still a talented fighter. He'll rebound from this loss. Team Alpha Male is a great camp. Jeremy Stephens has a great camp at Alliance. And yeah, I say at this point, either give Jeremy Stephens a title shot or number 1 contender match. I mean, he's definitely earned one of the two. And especially if you have, say, a top contender injured, you know, going into a title fight in featherweight, you could have Jeremy Stephens on standby as replacement. I think that would be good. And yeah, Jeremy Stephens, he's definitely looking good right now in his career. He's delivered the goods to the fans and to himself. Josh Emmett, again, he'll be back in his career, I'm sure. Wow. I mean, who would have guessed Jeremy Stephens? He's been in the UFC for over 10 years. You know, he knocked out Rafael dos Anjos at UFC 91, and then it was sort of hit and miss on his career, and then dos Anjos went on to become UFC lightweight champion, and Jeremy Stephens sort of faded in the background for a while, but he's, in recent memory, resurged as a featherweight, and I think it's a good weight class for him. Wow. Great main event. The first round was back and forth. Emmett landed some good power shots, but Jeremy Stephens, I would say, won that first round still. And then, yeah, he got the finish in the second round. Then in the co-main event in the women's strawweight division, we had a war with Jessica Andrade versus Tecia Torres. Jessica Andrade won a decision unanimous. Tecia Torres, though, in the first round landed some good strikes in the stand-up, but then towards the end of the first round, and then I believe it was, and then definitely round 2 and 3, it was all Jessica Andrade landing takedowns and ground and pounding, and then getting reversing positions to get top position when Tecia Torres looked like she was about ready to get dominant positions on Jessica Andrade. And yeah, Jessica Andrade definitely deserves a title shot and deserves the winner of Rose Namajunas versus Joanna Jacek. I think that would be a great fight. I think she's definitely waiting in the wing now for a title shot. And yeah, either Rose or Joanna is a good matchup for her, and it's going to be a fun fight for the fans. Then in the light heavyweight division on the main card, we had Ilir Latifi versus Ovince St. Preux. Man, did I get this one wrong? I picked Ovince St. Preux. I was pretty convinced on my pick on this one. I thought, oh, for sure, Ovince can use his height and reach advantage and just pick apart Ilir Latifi from the outside on the stand-up and eventually knock out Ilir Latifi. Boy, did that look like it might have happened the first 10 seconds. But then Latifi was holding his own, and then it was technical submission, standing guillotine choke. round one, 3 minutes and 48 seconds into the first round for Ilir Latifi. And yeah, Ilir was in the bottom of the top 10 going in this fight. He beat a top 5 ranked light heavyweight who not too long ago fought for a UFC title. And well, it wasn't like yesterday, but it's not like eons ago. I guess, well, eons in the fight game, I guess, but depending on how you look at it. But yeah, Ovince St. Preux, you know, he was a killer in Strikeforce. He's still a killer in the UFC. But Ilir Latifi definitely, I would say, is... I don't know if this fight would get him a title shot, but I think he's 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. And he definitely has a case for a title, though, when he called out Daniel Cormier after the big win, taking out the number 5 guy in the first round. Maybe you could put... yeah, I mean, if anything, just put Latifi up against one of the top 4 in the light heavyweight division next as DC fights Stipe. Or throw an interim belt at light heavyweight and then have Latifi fight one of the top 4 guys, or have 2 of the top 4 guys duke it out, and then maybe Latifi could be facing the winner of that, depending on how long we wait for a UFC light heavyweight title fight. Yeah, who knows when DC will be back at light heavyweight after he's done with Stipe. But anyways, Latifi looked good in this fight, and he's definitely in the title mix at this point. Then, to kick off the main card in the welterweight division, we had Max Griffin versus Mike Perry. And, wow, I got this one wrong. I thought Mike Perry had just demolished Max Griffin. It was like the other way around. Max Griffin just picked apart from the outside. Great stand-up, great footwork, great boxing. And, yeah, picked apart Mike Perry each and every round. I think Mike Perry should have worked the leg kicks and then worked the overhand right of trying to get it to land against Max Griffin. I think if he just stuck with the leg kicks, which looked like were successful, then he could have got a knockout in the mix. And yeah, I was just devastated. I'm happy for Max Griffin. I'm a Max Griffin fan, but I'm also a Mike Perry fan. And wow, I just, no one saw this coming. Max Griffin did his thing and he looked good. And he definitely deserves the top 15 guy in the welterweight division. Yeah, he won on due to strikes in the stand-up each and every round. It was 29-27 for 2 of the judges, and then 30-27 for the 3rd judge. And yeah, great fight. And I got to do an honorable mention on the prelims with women's bantamweight division. Marion Renault over Sarah McMahon. That was a great fight. And then women's strawweight with Angela Hill and Marina Moros. And then light heavyweight prelim, Sam Alvey. Getting all those fighters got their wins on the prelims, and they look great. And yeah, that wraps up the post-fight show for this card. And stay tuned in the coming days for my pre-fight for UFC 222. Chris Cyborg versus Yana Kunitskaya for the UFC Featherweight Championship of the World. Oh my, that's going to be a barn burner. Kunitskaya, again, I've said it before, the diehards know who she is. The casuals, you know, may or may not. But, I mean, it doesn't change the fact that she's a talented fighter. She looked great at bantamweight, and her going to featherweight, we'll see how it plays out. But it'll be interesting. And I know Cyborg's a favorite in this, but it just Kunitskaya actually has a chance to do something, and she trains at a good camp as well. Yeah, so that wraps up this episode. Until then, see ya.